Hello again, it's Lock Noob, and here we have a Godrej Ultra Sherlock, and this is an Indian lock. Now, I actually have quite a lot of viewers from India, and I get messages quite a lot saying pick Indian locks. Now, it's easier said than done when you're in the UK. We don't actually get that many Indian-made locks made in India. We just don't get too many over here. I don't know why. The ones we do get, if I was to be honest with you, by and large are of very, very low quality. Now, I don't think that that is indicative of all of the locks made in India. Quite the contrary, I and lots of other pickers I know actually have a lot of time and respect for Godrej, who I believe are a conglomerate who do loads of things, locks being just one of them. Now, before I get into what the lock is, let's have a look at the piece of paper that came in the box, and you can get these. I got mine on Amazon, I think, could have been eBay. That this one, it says all 5 security strengths. I don't really know what that means, but it's established in 1897, so it's an old company. It got a lifetime 15-year guarantee, and it says India's first unpickable locking system with dust guard. So this is India's first unpickable locking system. Not quite true. It says it's got a reversible key, so you can use a key either way. That is true. It's quite thick, resists bending, is rust proof. That is also true. It's thick, it does resist bending, is dust proof. It says it's an advanced multi-row pin cylinder with 14 pins. Absolutely true. All are active, and precision dimples on the key make it virtually unduplicable. It's virtually unduplicable, but it's actually unpickable. Okay, solid brass, Haxorus isn't hardened shackle, double locking system, which just means double ball bearing. So yeah, this is, their head offices are in Mumbai, and I have to say, having actually picked this lock, I think that this lock is really, really good. I can't say about how much it resists obviously physical attacks, but picking, yeah, actually really holds up well. Let me show you the keyway. It's got a little dust cover. There is the key. Now, I actually am doing the introduction to this after the picking, and as I was picking it, well, you'll see what happened, but it's funny. But what I did, which was not how the lock's designed, is I actually lifted this dust flap off over the little pin on the other side, and well, let's just say it didn't like that towards the end. So yeah, all 14 pins, you've got 2 rows of 5, and this is reversible, so you can open it up this way, and of course you can flip it and do it the other way, opens up all fine. Double ball bearing mechanism, so it's anti-shim, which is really nice. And the key itself, for those of you who are into your locks, it does look quite familiar. In fact, I have a Carber 8 here, and this is a, try and pull that out, a very similar looking keyway, I think you'll agree. I haven't actually tried the Godrej key in here. It might fit. Not quite, it's a bit thicker, I believe. But you can definitely see that there is a similarity. But this Carber 8, and it could just be because it's a particular variant of it, doesn't have a side bitting. So it's got 10 pins, 2 rows of 5 either side, but it hasn't got the side bitting. But it did remind me of another lock that I have, which is the Kiso 10. And this does have 2 sets of 5 and top bitting. So it's somewhere between the Carber 8 and the Kiso 10, both of which are very high security locks and relatively challenging picks. So especially not for beginners. I mean, I think a talented intermediate would be able to pick them with patience. And patience is what you need for this lock. It has tapered pins, which means that you have to pick each pin multiple times. As you pick the taper, it actually becomes loose again. Something else binds, you pick that. The previous pin, which may have become loose that you pick, actually is binding again, so you pick that and you rinse and repeat. So picking this lock can take a long time to do, and a careful hand. So, you know, you've got to sort of bear that in mind. Bearing that in mind, how am I going to pick this? Well, I have a pick which Talon Pick made me. So that's really cool. And this pick is handmade by Talon Pick. It's very, very thick metal. And this I marked off for the last time I picked a Carver 8 style lock. And the pin positions are identical. So I just use these. And I would suggest if you ever make yourself a Carver 8 style pick, where's my Carver 8 key? Just mark it off with some marker pen on the side, and you can see here that all these markings sort of align nicely with this lock and the other lock. So yeah, this Carver 8 pick definitely works in the Godrej, and it just helps you with so many pins not to feel which one's binding. You have to go through the lock multiple times, but it does help you just to quickly, because there's 14 pins, get on top of each pin to test whether it needs picking. It's an absolute time saver to just mark your pick off. It really, really is, and I could not recommend you do that enough if you make yourself a Carver 8 style pick like this. Right, enough whittering on. Let's throw this in a vise and give it a pick. Okay, let's try and pick this. You might be in for a bit of a long journey because this is not a particularly easy lock in terms of it takes quite a lot of time to pick. So yeah, let's go through. I'm going to put some moderate tension on, and we're just going to go. I'm going to go 5 left, right, 4, 3, 2, 1 all the way down. So starting with the right hand side, which is this side. So click out of 5 right, left, 4 right, left, nothing, 3 left, yeah, good, 4, well, sorry, this is sorry, 2 right, left, 1 right, 1 left. And then we'll just keep going back and forth on these pins as we go down, and we're just gently tapping them, and you might hear these little clicks as we go through. That's pin 1 on the right, 1 on the left, and eventually we'll get to a point where these little clicks from the tapered pins aren't clicking anymore. They're just not working. So it's at that point we realise it was probably the top pins. So 5 right, left, 4 right, left, 3 right, left, 2 right, left, 1 right, left. Okay, now it's feeling spongy, so what we do is we find the top pin and we just give those a little nudge. It's hard to get onto the first pin, and then we just go back to the back and we just keep going. 5 right, left, 4, little click, 3 right, left, 2 right, left, 1 little click, nothing. And it's really a case of just rinse and repeat. Just being very careful as we go down the lock. This is pin 3 on the right, 1 and 1 again, okay. And the top pins are also tapered, would you believe? So just again, you might think you're not getting anywhere, so you go to the top pins again and you try to set those. Basically what you do is you keep going left side, right side until you don't get any more sort of feedback or clicks. Then you try to just go along the top and see whether, so I'm getting to that point now where the feedback I am getting is very, very slight on these pins. So when they're binding, they feel springy. So what I'm going to do is go back to pin, hear that click, 4 at the back. Let's try 1, okay, good. And you just keep going through. And you have to be very just gentle on these pins. You're moving them a tiniest amount just to see whether anything needs to be set. Now I'm getting some little clicks out of this still, so again, you'll know it's time to look at the top rows again when you don't get any feedback from the pins that you've been trying to pick. And again, you can go to the back and just nudge the pin at the top. That seems fine. Let's try pin 1. Seems fine. Okay, so just going to keep going through. And this is incremental, tiny little steps going through the lock. And I'm still feeling the pins give me some feedback as I tap on them. So pin 2 there on the right, and 1 on the left. Even just then on the pin 5 on the right there still gave me some feedback, and 1 as well. So again, just going to test the pins in positions 1 and 4. Seems fine. Okay, keep going through. Little click on 3 on the right and 1 on the left, and you never know which pin is going to give you so that feedback can require a push. So that's 2 on the left there and 1 on the left. So you just have to keep going through and through and through, just testing the top pins as well, just making sure that they seem fine. Keep going through. And a little click out of 2 on the left there. That's a new one. Four right, nothing. 3 right, 2. Another little click on 2 left. Okay, test those top pins again. Seems fine. Just trying pins, the top pins, just checking they're fine. They feel set, so yeah, don't want to disturb those too much. I'm just going to go back through and back through until we hopefully get an open. Still get some clicks. Oh yeah, getting more clicks now at the front of the lock, which is good. But because we don't know where these taper pins have that, and see there, 4 on the right there gave me a click. So you don't know where these taper pins are going to sort of give you feedback. You really do have to go through each side in turn all the way through the lock. No shortcuts on this one, I'm afraid. Test the top pins again. Seem fine. A little click on 2 on the right. Okay, keep going through, just test the top pins again. Okay, and back through. Oh, I think we've got an open. I think. Yes, we have. I caught it with the I caught it with the pick, and we have got the open now. Because I'll leave it there for you. I'll open it up. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to open it further than this, because I'm terrified that what's going to happen is I'm going to destroy this lock like I did a Kiso 10. The thing is in theory, I'm just looking at this, none of those pins cross over in any of the chambers. If you look here, let me put that lock down for 1 second. If you look here, that axis at the top, so this side at the top and at the bottom, so this dimple, and this dimple there, they all actually don't go on the same axis, which means that as you turn this, you hope that these essentially ride a different part of the cylinder, and none of the driver pins or key pins will swap over their chambers, but they're so close, and I don't know the quality of the insides of this lock. The risk is what will happen is you will turn it, and then various key pins and drive pins will drop into various other chambers as they go through, and then you literally have destroyed this lock. And it is actually a surprisingly good lock. This was probably my 10th time of picking this, if I take into account all my practicing on this. It's very, very, very good, actually, I have to say. So it's a fun pick, and it's a very precise pick. But you see, it's definitely open. Technically, like I said, I could open this up, but it would risk destroying it. You can't cut this, unfortunately. These screws only hold on this front plate. I shall just back that off and open it up for you. You can see there's no way to gut this, but yeah, very, very cool. Oh, yeah, well, that happened. I wonder if I can get that to, I must be able to fix this. I'll fix this somehow. Don't worry about that. All right, look, this is the Godrej Ultra Sherlock. Very fun pick. Very similar to the Cub 8. Yes, a really, really cool lock to pick, and certainly one to check out if you like your tri-axis dimple locks. Anyway, if you like this video, please leave a like. If you've got any comments, leave them below. I read them all and reply to as many as I can. If you haven't subscribed, do consider subscribing. Really helps my channel out, and I will see you all next time.